Hey guys, I'm here at another protest at Trafalgar Square, potentially one of the last big ones before the ULEZ expansion actually comes in at the end of this month. But as you can see, the crowd is turned out. Even though the weather has been bad, there's strikes going on, but people are here today because they really want to make their voices heard. Not only people, but mayoral candidates are standing right here. We'll go and talk to one or two of them. We'll go and talk to one or two people, and let's have a look at all the people here today.
What did happen to the last 10? I ran away with my life, fast forward, never turn back again. It's kind of funny that the more we pass time, the more we need to set the rewind. And 19 was the year I had to leave you, but now I'm seeing all the signs. Is this really happening? I can't believe it's true. I'm just as surprised as you. This really happened here. I can't be too sure, but one day I'll be yours again. A brown car guy.
How you doing, Susan? Great to finally meet you. Welcome to Trafalgar Square. You're joining the protest against the ULEZ expansion.
Absolutely, I am.
Where do things stand at the moment?
Unfortunately, because we've got a mayor that doesn't listen to a word anybody says, let alone Londoners, when he should, I'm afraid I think he will put it in at the end of August.
Yeah, and we keep getting this smoke screen with the scrap it scheme where every few weeks he tries to extend it further. And I just put out a video saying, well, you know, this close to the actual date of the extension, it's virtually useless to everybody, isn't it?
Well, of course it is. This last lot comes in a week before the ULEZ is due to be expanded and go live. But also £2,000 does not buy anybody another car. Yeah. It puts more and more working families in debt that they can't afford. He shouldn't be doing any of this. So it will be about £160 million of taxpayers' money going into scrappage schemes, many of which cars are perfectly fine. His own impact assessment says that it will make virtually no difference whatsoever to air quality, and the stories I'm hearing are heartbreaking. But he just does not listen. I will listen. When I'm the mayor in May, on May the 2nd, I will stop the ULEZ expansion on the very first day.
How crucial is it for a mayor of London to be actually listening to the people of London?
Well,
I mean, you know, and this is the thing, because like since the beginning of me covering this, what really got me was when I came to events like this and the heart-wrenching stories you had from normal people.
I know.
And then when you think about the narrative that he keeps talking about, 4,000 lives or whatever, but there are people that have told me they're suicidal.
Well, and I'm getting emails the same. Some of the stories are heartbreaking, but he just is not listening. And it's not one or two stories. I've got inboxes full of stories that are absolutely shocking. People are going to lose their businesses. Charities are going to have to close down. But working families who do their very best to keep their families going are in such a state they don't know what to do. And this isn't just Londoners, it's people that live outside London as well, who can't even go for a scrappage scheme, but who work in London. And we need those good people. We need those people to keep services running in London. Not good enough.
So tell me this, a lot of people have asked me that if it actually comes in on the 29th of August, and God willing you become mayor on the 2nd of May next year, can you roll it back? Is that actually even possible?
Yes, I can stop it. He can put it in, I can stop it. Right. He's putting it in as mayor. I'm making my intention absolutely clear to everybody in London. I will stop it on the first day. Absolutely.
And people have also said that, you know, the whole ULEZ thing was originally a conservative thing. Like Boris Johnson was the one that actually came up with it.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are like, well, this is just another smokescreen. I mean, they just say this, but when they come in, they're just going to extend it further. What do you say to that?
No, it's not a smokescreen. It was brought in by Boris Johnson for inner London. All of us that know London, as in Greater London, know inner London is completely different to outer London. I mean, here I could walk for a very short distance and get buses, get trains, it's fine. In outer London, you can't do that. You need very often your car to get to work. And this is what Sadiq Khan's not concentrating on. People aren't just going out joyriding. They're going to get their kids to school where they need to be, to get to hospital appointments and to get to work. And that's why people need their cars. And what he's doing to them is absolutely despicable.
Do you think he's going to stand for a third term?
Yes, I do. Because he just sees that it's another 4 terms, 4 years of him doing exactly what he wants to do. He doesn't care about what Londoners think, and this proves it.
But do you think that there are discussions happening within the Labour Party itself right now because of the result in Uxbridge, where they may be thinking about whether they should stop this or whether they should stop him from standing again?
Well, it's interesting you should say that. I mean, because quite frankly, if you look at my inbox with the heart-wrenching stories, don't tell me that Labour aren't getting the same stories. They must be. They absolutely must be. So unless they do something about it and stop him, one of their own as it were, if they don't stop him, then they're complicit in this. They're standing back and getting the same emails that I am, and they're putting up with it. Well, shame on them, I say. If Londoners want a change, they have got to vote for me on the 2nd of May.
I interviewed a lady in Wallington just a few days ago who was a die-hard Labour Party member.
Yeah.
And she actually said she's not going to vote for Labour next time. Are you seeing a lot of this transition happening?
Well, listen, I want to talk for Londoners, all Londoners. I don't care who they vote for. I'm saying to them, I want to be a mayor of London who will listen to Londoners, not just on the ULEZ expansion, but on everything. And I will listen, because it's about time Londoners had somebody that cared for this beautiful city. He's wrecking it in so many different ways.
What can we do about the London Underground? Because from research that we have and stuff that I've done, it turns out that that's actually the most dangerous place to travel in terms of the toxic air pollution levels.
Yeah, it's very concerning. I have actually asked him questions in City Hall. He, as usual, evaded the answers. It's something that I would need to look into when in power, but sometimes you can't do things unless you are the mayor, which is why I would plead with all of your viewers, please make me the mayor on May the 2nd, and I will be your voice in London.
Can you beat him, Susan?
Of course I can beat him, and I intend to beat him.
Thank you so much for talking to me today.
Thank you very much.
Is this really happening? I can't believe it's true. I'm just as surprised as you. Is this really happening? I can't be too sure, but one day I'll be yours again. Brown car guy.
Hey Phil, good to see you again.
And you,
So
great
tell
to meet you.
everybody your involvement with all of these events so far, because you're at every single one of them.
I've been to quite a lot of them now, it's starting to pick up the numbers. But yes, since many years ago, it started for me with the original low emission zone back in 2007, 2008, the original one with Ken Livingstone. And since then, it's morphed and it's morphed and it's morphed into what we got today. Many years ago, when I was standing outside the Houses of Parliament with my sign saying, "This is coming," nobody really cared, nobody really knew. So I'm now standing there going, well, it's come, hasn't it? You know, here we are, this is what we got.
And you're joined by a few other people holding signs now as well.
Yeah, it's nice to finally see the people have finally saw.
But listen, tell me this, right? I've had a lot of messages of people being very disheartened and very dejected about the whole thing, especially since the court case on Friday, right?
Yeah.
So where do we stand at the moment? Do you still think that there is hope? Do you think that it's still worth doing what we're doing here today?
Where there's breath, there's hope. At this moment, yes, we was disappointed with the JR result, but that's one JR. There's another JR coming up, but if that falls flat as well, what you've got to look at is look around you.
Yeah.
Public support is growing. You've now seen that pressure from people across the country, around town and further afield. What you've got now is Rishi Sunak has now come up with his 5-point plan. That's because of people like us coming out in the rain and making pressure on the government to react. If Sadiq Khan is not going to listen, well, the government has to see where this is going. What happened at Uxbridge has woken the government up to this is a big issue. It's obviously going to cause a lot of problems for the government, hence they're now trying to work out what they're going to do next. What they can do next is actually come out and speak to the likes of me, Nick and others that have been involved in this, who are representing the people of London further afield about the ULEZ. If they're so convinced that they want to help us and listen to the people, talk to us. Because if they don't talk to the people, they're going to lose the next election. They will lose the next election to Labour, and then you're going to have a massive problem across this capital and the country as people rise up against the stupidity that we're all facing.
But do you think that the politicians will listen? I mean, we've already had Keir Starmer sort of flip-flopping and wondering about how ULEZ is going to impact his chances in keeping hold of London, right?
Well, he's already seen that, hasn't he?
We've already seen that, so he's already discussing that. We've had Rishi Sunak suddenly say that he's the friend of the motorists. You know, I mean, whether he is or not, but I'd like to take him at face value. Do you know what I mean? I'd like to see if there's an opportunity to have this discussion with these guys. It's worth doing, yeah?
We're open to discussion with anybody. We'd like to have a chat with Sadiq Khan.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
The noise, as you can see, the protest is going really well. We're willing to talk to Sadiq Khan. We're on bended knees.
So tell me this, what would you say if Sadiq Khan turned up here today, what would you say to him?
Sort it out, mate, because you're not a popular fella, are you, really? Let's get it sorted out. I feel for Sadiq Khan, but since he's got to do something, you've got to be seen to do something.
Say that again, because that's significant, what you just said.
I feel for Sadiq Khan.
Wow.
Why? I'll tell you what. When he goes home at night and he's had a rough day at the office, he's seen what's going on outside here, he gets home and I bet his missus says to him, how's your day been? And he turned around and he said, it's just been a nightmare, as usual.
Yeah.
Not only that, I'm sure his neighbours up the street are probably saying, Sadiq, come on, my car, my friend's car, and all of the people that I know have got problems. He's not a popular guy, but he can't do anything.
Do you think that he's backed himself into a corner and that's the problem?
Completely. He's backed into a corner. He's got a massive bill to pay due to the mismanagement of TfL. He's got a huge amount of money that's got to be paid, and somewhere along the line he's got to pay it back. Now, unfortunately, this massive bill that he's got to pay, Grant Shapps has obviously said you've got to get the money in, and I believe he obviously said about the ULEZ expansion. That was just about the London central one to the 406 and the South Circular. Sadiq, unfortunately, had pushed it out even further, and the end result is he got people here today not happy.
So with this protest, we are now in August, right?
Yep.
And it's happening at the end of August, 29th of August, if it goes ahead.
Yep.
This may be one of the last big ones in central London, or are there more to come?
Who knows?
Yeah.
At this moment, you know, we look around at the numbers in today with the rain, we've got the sounds. People, nothing's going to change.
Yeah.
On the 29th of August, when it comes in, are they going to be able to afford suddenly £12.50, £25 in some cases? Can they afford new cars? No. The situation is the same. Nothing's going to change. He will then start getting a lot more people, a lot wider out, who are now receiving these letters, letting them know they're not compliant.
They're going across the country.
I live 157 miles up in Lincolnshire. I've had 157 miles.
I did wonder the other day, what is his budget for sending out these letters across the country?
Well, I'm sure he's probably realising now that all of his letters are going out, and he realises it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I'm sure his team are saying, look, we're sending things 157 miles, 200 miles away. We've got a problem here, Sadiq. So for him to start sitting there now and seeing how big this problem is, 9 out of 10 cars are compliant, correct? Right. 200,000 cars he recommended was going to be effective. 700,000 with the RAC. That's in the inner London area within the M25. If I'm living 157 miles up the road and I'm getting them, go out 150 odd miles, do the maths.
So what about these events? How can people find out about them? One of the things I often get when I do these videos is like, oh, I didn't know this event was going on. How should people know that these events are happening?
I find it very difficult to believe that people don't know what's going on. But we've still got people that have no idea, not too far outside of the M25, that have no idea what's coming. Well, they're very soon going to get a wake-up call with the little brown envelopes coming through. Facebook, the ULEZ groups, they're out there. Google it, tap it in there, you'll find something.
Action Against ULEZ on Facebook, and there's two major groups that they can join. Tell me briefly about the event on the 20th.
Can I just put
Hey Nick, how you doing?
Hello, Mr. Brown.
The legend that is, right?
Sorry.
Oh no.
Go away. Right,
we got to keep going. We need sustenance. Yeah.
Right, what we got is on the 20th, we've got so many bikers across the group. You've got people asking about what's happening about the bikers.
Yeah.
We're affected. Bikers are not necessarily going out there and causing all this chaos and all on the roads. You've got traffic jams, cars, buses. It's not the bikers. So on the 20th, we've organised and we've got the word out in support of Ace Cafe. Ace Cafe, which I believe you done a video a little while ago with Mark and Motorcycle Accident Group Limbit. We've got a little ride out being organised, we shall say, and that's going out from various points, Ace Cafe, all the way around the M25, and we're pushing it out to as many motorcyclists as we can. It'll be a fantastic day.
Looking forward to it.
Yep, I'm hopefully I'm going to take my own vehicle up there, but if I can't, I'm going to hope that I can punch a lift on a trike. Or I might even borrow a bike for the day for myself. So I'll be
listen,
there.
this is the other thing about these events, and some people have said this to me. I've covered all of the events, as you know, pretty much most of them, and people have said it's a great atmosphere. It's like a festival going on.
Yeah, there's a good atmosphere, but people shouldn't sort of misconstrue that and think we're not angry.
Yeah.
Because when they see these little parties and they think we're all enjoying ourselves, no, we're here, and that just keeps people occupied.
Yeah.
But everybody is absolutely pissed off with all of this. Don't ever. If the government are sitting back and thinking we're all little jolly people and we will accept this, we won't do, because we will be
but at
getting
the same
pushed and pushed.
time, one of the things I've noticed is that we're very careful not to block anybody. We're careful not to.
You know what? We even down at the BBC last week, or whenever it was, the week before, there was a wedding there. We actually moved off the steps so they could have their ceremony.
Yeah.
That's how considerate we are. We don't leave rubbish. We don't do anything. We don't cause a nuisance.
Yeah.
And that's held us in good stead with the police.
Yeah.
But as I say, people are still angry. Don't anybody mistake it that they're just sitting back taking all this, because they won't eventually. If this comes in, I think things are going to change, and I think there's going to be a lot more direct action.
And that is our concern. We've spoken, we've got a great relationship with the police. Everywhere we've been, it's been fantastic, and we want to keep it like that. Howard Cox, who's standing for mayoral candidate, he is going to be their boss. He will be their boss. He's the man to go for. And we're on their side. We support the police. We want them guys to have a nice, easy life. Go to work, do your job. We don't want any trouble across this country, nor do they. And I see it, unfortunately, because the government won't listen, and they keep going down the route of net zero, and they're pushing more and more problems onto the people are getting more and more distressed, anxious. Mental health is causing problems across the board. They've got to wake up, listen to the people, or you're going to be in trouble.
Thank you very much, guys. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thanks for the help.
Take care.
All the best.
So, hi guys, how you all doing? Now, I know you all from various different protests and events that we've been at together, and all of you share one thing in common. You all have cool cars. You're all car guys, right? So how, I'm going to give you the mic, whoever wants to speak. How is this going to affect, the car community? And has the car community yet understood how this is going to impact them?
Well, yeah, of course it's going to impact the car community, because everyone who's got a car that's non-compliant, that's not over 40 years old, every time they go out now, it's going to be £12.50. And for me, I don't want to pay £12.50 every time I take my MG out. It's a well-maintained car. And the other thing that really concerns me is the car shows.
Yeah.
We're going to see a big decline now, I think. Maybe the London to Brighton mini run.
Well, you were given the mic, because you were just telling me something about the events, and they were trying to get permission to do them.
Yeah, the one-day exemption for classic car runs, they won't tolerate that. They've said no, they won't allow it. They want money. Yeah, that's
Absolutely.
it. And we need to obviously push the classic car fraternity to stand up and be part of this movement.
Absolutely, yeah.
And you've got several classic cars.
I've got quite a few. I've got some which are compliant, some which are not. I mean, I even got electric car which I drive every day. But this is the tip of the iceberg. What you find is that it's just ULEZ now. It'll be everything afterwards. As soon as everyone gets compliant, they'll move the goalpost.
Absolutely.
So,
And how badly is it going to hurt car enthusiasts and collectors?
Well, look at the Ace's Cafe, a regular me.
Well, this is the thing. I mean, you're regular at the Ace Cafe. How do you think it's going to impact the Ace Cafe?
It's gone. It's dead.
Well, like you said, I do go to the Ace Cafe a lot, whether it's classic cars, modern cars, or whatever. But the Ace Cafe is going to be like a very slippery slope. It's all going to go downhill. No one's going to want to take the chance to come up there. you know, it's a running business at the moment, and classic cars in total. I'm going one next week, classic car night, and you get to speak to the owners there, and you know, no one's happy.
Yeah.
You know, and that's just often also.
We used to see before. If you couldn't get by 6 o'clock, you didn't get to the car park. You had to queue a mile down the road. You know, you could literally.
It's going to be the death.
You know what? That's really interesting what you say. What do cars mean to you? Because I've had people telling me they're anxious, they're suicidal in some cases about not having their cars.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've all got cars. We love our cars. We spent a lot of money and time and effort to keep them maintained. The public like to see our cars when they're on the roads as well. You know, it's like having a classic car, and when you go to meets, it's like a living museum of motoring. You know, and we're putting that out. There's cars around that you're never going to see unless you go to a car show or there's a car meet. And this is it's a living museum. And this is going to be
a case in point. I mean, your car is actually quite rare now. You know, so in a sense, you're doing a service to keep that car alive. You're preserving heritage.
Yeah, that's it. You would need to preserve the heritage, and a lot of the classic car events are done for charity as well, and charity will lose out.
You as well, you should just sit inside a car without driving it. You get in the car, you just feel great. You know, you can look at the car, wake up in the morning, look outside, your car's there, it just feels great. So people don't understand that classics, including modern classics, you know, they give you that feeling.
And tell me a little bit more about the charitable events. I know we got people like Sporting Bears and people like that do so much great work. This is not being looked at, is it?
No, absolutely. And it's the charities that are going to suffer. If we don't take our cars out on the road, people are not going to come out. They're not going to put the money in the bins and the collecting points. And it'll be the charities that suffer. So, you know, ULEZ is terrible. It's going to destroy, I think, the big part of the classic car community. And that's why we don't want it. That's why we're here today, because we want to take our cars on the road. We don't want to pay £12.50 a day for something that is not necessary and not needed. It's a scam, and we all know that.
Thank you very much, guys. Alan, you're on. Welcome to Trafalgar Square again. We met here before.
It was the first time you came and spoke brilliantly at No to ULEZ. Now we've had much more attention, national news, international news, MPs saying not only are they going to review, the Prime Minister review LTNs and everyone commenting on ULEZ, but even a discussion about net zero. Some of them are saying let's double down. But what does net zero mean for people? It means restrictions, cuts, limits. Let's talk about the costs and the benefits. Everyone wants a nice clean planet. It's got a lot better in the last 40 years, particularly in Britain, right? But what's it going to mean for all of us? And that's why it's so important we're all here today, this question of an unnecessary, undemocratic imposition by Mayor Khan. And I've just bumped into my old mucker, my mate, Ray. How you doing?
Very good, Alan. Good
Ray's a DJ over the years, right? And I haven't seen him for like ages. Wicked to see you here.
It's great to be here, mate. Support this cause. I mean, how did that judge pass this? This is Vanessa, a good old friend of mine. And we're all on the same page,
So tell, where are you guys living? Whereabouts?
Sutton, yeah.
And what do you think about ULEZ?
Disgusting. It's outrageous. And how that judge made that legal and they put it through, I don't get that. It's got to be corrupt, right?
Well, that's the problem with the judges, right? It's all legal, technical things. They're not about the political questions, not about why he bought the cameras in advance.
Isn't there another case going through
There
now?
is, the White's case.
So what is that about?
But the thing about, I would just want to say to everyone, don't get excited about judicial reviews. They're very narrow legal things. They're not based on moral questions or political ones. The way we stop this, to keep doing this, get everyone should go out and tell their MPs their vote's going to depend on it.
This is it, Alan. I think that what has really had an impact, what's been like a turning point, has been what's happened in Uxbridge. And that was people power. That wasn't legal power.
Uxbridge and Cambridge, where the first time a Tory got voted in, specifically on the congestion question. Warrington, they've kicked out the LTNs. We've seen issues like that up and down the country. Bristol, they've just stopped them in East Bristol. They put a pause. And, you know, Keir Starmer, even Tony Blair, they're all panicking, saying stop it. So Sadiq Khan, right, whatever happens next, if it's a bait and switch about paper mile, we've got to put our interests at the centre of this, right? We don't want paper mile, we don't want surveillance, we want freedom and mobility. We're already paying enough.
We need proper productivity and development and jobs for people, better housing, and we don't want an end to cars. It's a war on cars and war on people.
We need cars to get around, right?
How do you get around in the counties and around out of London? If
you need a car. You absolutely need a car. Absolutely. Now, what would you say? A lot of people have sent me messages. They've been quite dejected since that, judicial review result. And people are like, some people are like, oh, well, there's nothing we can do. What's going to happen is going to happen. What do you say to that?
I'd say to everyone, don't dwell on that judicial review. I say to everyone, we've been involved in one before, but we don't put a lot of truck on it. What changes things is having our voices heard. If you go to your MPs and say your vote is going to depend on what they do about ULEZ and LTNs, you'll quickly see that will get back to Central Party HQ. Do it now over the summer and the start of September. This is an election year, right? Our voice can be heard, but do more than that. Get your friends and colleagues involved in local groups, campaign and challenge them up and down, all around the counties, in every borough. And by the way, for those that are saying, like I'm in Hackney and a couple of people are going, oh, why are you not saying much? Watch what happens next in all the boroughs with the LTNs as well. These are the new dividing lines, right? These are the new questions where you stand with the people or with bureaucratic technocrats that just want to impose charges whilst they go around in limos and fancy jets telling us what we should and shouldn't do.
Well done.
Right, let's stand together, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Lovely. Nice one, brother.
Last thing, all those people out there who haven't come on the demonstration today, I know for a fact there's over 40,000 people in different ULEZ groups. Where are you? Stop being keyboard warriors and get your arse down here and show your support, because when it goes pay per mile you will regret it, and I would tell you now, you need to stand up to this government and Sadiq Khan especially.
What did happen to the last 10? I ran away with my life, fast forward, never turn back again. It's kind of funny that the more we pass time, the more we need to set the rewind. And 19 was the year I had to leave you, but now I'm seeing all the signs. Is this really happening? I can't believe it's true. I'm just as surprised as you. Is this really happening? I can't be too sure, but one day I'll be yours again. Life lessons come one in a dozen. The other 11 get something from nothing. I sit here looking for answers. The biggest question was in the last chapter. You gave me the soul I have today. Without you, I never could have moved away.
The brown car guy. He's my man. He's my man. Let's fight to him.
Brown car guy.
Hello there. Tell me, why are you carrying that thing around? Is it because of the air outside is so bad?
No, it's because of the underground. I might need it in there.
What is this? Show me what this is.
It's a chemical mask.
And so why did you... That's what it is right there.
Well, that's what we'd have to wear at work if it was that bad.
Right. So why did you choose to bring this? Is that for the underground?
Yeah.
And why do you feel that you need to wear that on the underground?
Well, I watched your videos, didn't I?
And are you genuinely worried after you saw them?
Well, I don't travel on the underground much, but I've had a double bypass and so on. I think I should be taking a bit of precaution.
Yeah. So it's a serious matter, really.
Oh, yeah.
So when you saw the numbers that I got and the figures that I got on the underground, that was genuinely worrying and genuinely concerning.
And nobody's really reporting on that. Only yourself.
Lance Baxter.
And what was the story you were telling me about your car?
I had to buy a compliant car because I have to go into the inner ULEZ. I accepted that really because the employer I was doing at the time was paying £12.50 for me every day to come in my van. That I came all the way from the north here to bring me furniture and all the rest of it. So it was felt a bit, I was doing the employer. So he was paying £62.50 a week for me to do that. So I bought a smart car on the drip, on finance, blah, blah, blah. And I thought that was fair, So doing the in and out. Next minute I get tickets saying your car's not compliant.
And just to clarify, the car is compliant.
Well, it's a smart 1 litre prime.
What year is it?
2006. 16 or 17.
Oh, then it's definitely compliant.
Oh yeah. No, so it's the one.
Yeah.
So I bought the one on petrol. Yeah. So I didn't want to buy petrol and prefer to buy diesel. But anyway, so cut a long story short, I get a ticket. So I had to argue with them. They kept saying, "Oh, that's not proof." I have to get the logbook out, show me original logbook with the thing. They did all that. Now finally, after about, they'd put the fine from, say, I don't know what it was, 80 quid to frigging hundreds of quids. Yeah. So, you couldn't get through to them. And actually, it's a bit of a drama getting through to them, you know, and with the chat system as well, it's a bit crap. So, in the long run, what we did was, we got a proper email and all that, did all that. Anyway, it took a while, we got it sorted. Yes, you're compliant, we can confirm you're compliant, no problem, all compliant. 3 months later, guess what? I get another one. And you can see it's and what I'm saying to you. So hang on a minute. This is stupid. So it's as if they wiped the system and then had to do it again. Guess what? 3 months later. So I was beginning to feel a little bit persecuted. I was like, hang on a minute. I'm a Stop ULEZ protester. I wonder if they're getting me. I wonder if they're feeling a bit like that. So now I was really sardonic on the chat system. I said, listen, £12.50, I shouldn't be paying any. I bought this on purpose. I got into drip, I got into this, blah blah blah, and now you're so and so and so and so and so. Anyway, I got a little letter. I've had loads of them, but I got a little letter saying your car's compliant. So I wait with bated breath for the next one that says so and so. So what I'm saying is the system's faulty, isn't it? And that's what I'm trying to say. Not only is it an unfair tax, it's an entrance tax, and also it's a mileage tax. So that's what's going to happen. So anyway, I'm just here to protest.
Don't give up, all right? We're not giving up, and please do not don't get yourselves into trouble, guys. We love you all. You're brilliant. Give yourselves a big clap, please.
Look at me sometimes like all you want to do is run. Thank you so much.
just on my way out from here, because obviously like everybody's dispersed, everybody's gone, and I was like, okay, I packed my equipment away, and then you stopped me, and we started having this conversation, and it was absolutely fascinating. And you're coming at it from a scientific point of view, so can you please introduce yourself, tell us what you do, and what your take is on this?
Okay, well, what do I do? I'm a professor of business. I'm also a solicitor, a lawyer. But I also am involved in a company, CEO of a company that measures, reports and verifies on environmental claims. Not legal claims, I mean things that people say for example, the carbon markets and things like that. And the issue I've got lots of issues with ULEZ, but the main issue I've got at the moment, and certainly listening to what's going on in the media, is that this is not a climate policy. This has nothing to do with climate change. This is not a carbon-based policy. It's a NOx-based policy, which is all about air pollution. And people are deliberately mixing the two things up and getting all excited or not excited about net zero. But the issue with ULEZ is it's forcing people to scrap cars. The number of cars on the London roads has never changed since 2007, since records begun. It's been about 2.6, 2.8 million in circulation registered in London. That's unlikely to go down. So for every car scrapped, another one is being sold and bought, and up the chain you end up with a new car being manufactured. And that, what we call forced obsolescence, and new car manufacture is actually dumping between 15 and 20 tons of carbon per car, per electric vehicle, into the atmosphere. So the issue with this policy is it's taking us away from net zero and not towards it. There are also loads of other environmental issues. For example, I've just come back from northwest Argentina, which is the region that owns about 50% of the world's resource of lithium, and the impact on the water table there is catastrophic. The number of deformities within the children of the parents who work in the mines, there's positive correlations throughout. They went 3 days in the summer, in February this year, with absolutely no water at all in northwest Argentina, because the mining companies have basically affected the water table, and the little water that there is completely contaminated. Plus, all the indigenous people are being forcefully moved off of their ancestral lands because they don't have paperwork, because they've lived there for thousands of years. So there's also all sorts of socio-economic issues here as well. Plus, then you go and look at cobalt mining in Africa, which is also required for battery manufacture and stuff like that, and all sorts of issues there as well.
So these are the issues that are related to EV production and climate change, but let's keep it to ULEZ for now, because to be honest, that's a whole other video, which I'm sure you and I could do actually, but just keep it to ULEZ for now. And the fact that one of the things that Sadiq Khan seems to be banking on is the fact that he's extending the scrappage scheme. Now personally, I think the scrappage scheme is a tremendous waste of resources. So based on what you're saying, that's completely the wrong policy, not only in terms of air pollution, but for the sake of the climate as well.
From a climate perspective, scrappage is horrendous. It's disastrous because, well, first of all, 70% of all the scrap metal from cars that we produce in the UK ends up on, at the moment, the policy is to chuck it on a boat and ship it over to Turkey. So there's all sorts of environmental and carbon footprint issues there as well. But the scrappage of cars and the related purchase of an EV is where I have a massive issue, because that is hugely catastrophic from a carbon footprint perspective. Every time a car is scrapped,
But tell me this though, in terms of ULEZ, is an EV a good answer for dense urban areas like this?
I don't know. I mean, I will probably buy an EV one day in the future when my car has died of natural causes and when the technology is better and when it doesn't perhaps need as much lithium. I may well buy a ULEZ in the future. What I'm not happy with is being forced to buy one now, or even if I don't buy one, somebody up the chain ends up buying one. And it doesn't even need to necessarily be an EV. The fact that we are forcing people to scrap totally roadworthy cars to buy another totally roadworthy car is just catastrophic for the environment. It's a move away from net zero and not towards it.
Brown car guy.
Hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, please hit the like button and share this video as well if you can. And while you're at it, check out these guys who also sponsor my content. I am deeply grateful to them because it helps me to buy new equipment, put fuel in the cars, and yes, buy a cup of coffee. You can do the same. Just go here or right here on YouTube. Just hit these three little dots down here and click on thanks. Make sure you're signed in first. My content is free, but this is how you can help me keep it that way. I may even send you a gift. Oh, by the way, watch this next.